with that, it is my pleasure to introduce Kate Engel with Nebraska Innovation Campus.
Awesome, thank you. Well, thank you so much for having me this morning. I am excited to share a little bit about Nebraska Innovation Campus and then answer any additional questions that Brooke may have or that any of you have here from the audience. So I'll go through this quickly. There's a lot to say about Nebraska Innovation Campus, but I'll try to keep this in a short amount of time and then answer any questions you have about what's been shared today. So really, what is Nebraska Innovation Campus? We're located at the former state fairgrounds, if you haven't been out to visit us or are aware of where the campus is. And really, our campus is designed to facilitate new and in-depth partnerships between the private sector and the university. So all of the folks that are located at Innovation Campus, all of our companies, we call them partners, have some connection or a desired connection to the university. And that looks very different for everyone located there. So it might be that they're working with a certain department, or that they're looking for access to talent, or that they're hiring interns, or that there's a certain piece of equipment that they need access to. So for all 55 plus partners that are located on the campus, how they're connected to the university looks very different, and that's very intentional for us. Culture is a big part of the campus. So one of my colleagues, her title is actually, she is our Culture and Operations Manager. And what that allows her to do is really focus on programming and events that encourages all of those people that are on campus to get out of their offices and to connect and interact in new and different ways. So what we have found is people like food, right? Donuts, yes, I understand this. And that if we're able to host some events that get people gathered together, we don't know how to create innovation, obviously, but we know those unplanned collisions and conversations, that something really exciting can come out of that. And so if it takes a meal to do that, we will certainly do that. But spend a lot of time thinking about space, place, programming, and events that encourages our folks to connect in new and different ways. Where we're located, so as I mentioned, former state fairgrounds. As a research park, what's really exciting about our location is how close we are to both City Campus and East Campus for the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. If you've ever visited another research park, a lot of times there may be a 15 or 20-minute drive from that main campus, and it really creates a barrier to get your faculty, students, and staff involved in the research campus, but also to get your private sector companies to go visit those campuses. So the fact that we're 5 minutes from City Campus and about 7 to 10 minutes, unless you hit that train on 33rd, then we're like 6 days from East Campus. It really allows us to move and churn people, which is an important part of the campus. So this is our master plan. If you have been out to see us recently, the red buildings there are completed. The orange buildings are future buildings, and anything gray you see up there is a planned parking garage, because our goal will be to have up to around 5,000 people working on the campus. So with 2/3 of those being private sector and 1/3 being university representation. So this was just taken a couple weeks ago. This is what the campus looks like to date. So we have 570,000 square feet completed, including the hotel, which is very exciting. We're looking forward to opening that this spring. So a mix of buildings. We have mixed-use buildings, we have lab buildings, we have the former 4-H building, which is partial conference center, partial maker space, and I will talk to you about that. And then the greenhouse, and then obviously our newest addition with the hotel. So what I wanted to share with you today that maybe we don't talk about quite as much, and is kind of a new focus for us at Innovation Campus, is really thinking about what startup resources can we offer not only to the university but also to the general community. And really what I want to focus on and share with you today, and what I'm always most excited about, is Nebraska Innovation Studio, which is our maker space. So I'll talk through that and then kind of hit on these other ones, and again, happy to answer questions. But Nebraska Innovation Studio is 16 15,000 square feet of making facility. So this is available to faculty, students, staff, and the general community. So it's a membership-based space. If you think of it kind of like going to the gym, you pay a monthly membership fee and you get access to the space and equipment and classes and training. This is very much the same. However, you're not going to find a treadmill. You're going to find things like welding equipment, 3D printers, laser cutters, a Longarm quilting machine, throwing wheels for pottery, big open spaces that you can make a mess and that's fine, woodworking equipment. So this space has been a really important part of Innovation Campus, and it really has allowed us to not only welcome students, but welcome the community to come out to the campus for more than attending a lecture or an event. A few of my favorite stories here in pictures, just real quick. This father and son team over here, they have actually built violins in the makerspace. And what's interesting about this is neither of them play the violin. So it makes perfect sense, right? They purchased a violin at a garage sale and noticed that the maker's name was the same as the son's name, and they took that as a sign that they should learn how to make violins. So they deconstructed one to learn how to reconstruct them. We had a great partnership with the Lincoln Symphony because they made this lovely violin, and they said, "What, does it work? Like, does it make a noise?" And we were all like, well, I don't know. We don't play the violin either. So have created some great partnerships with that. So fun story. And then on the other side, the gentleman there with the small stools, we had a software company that bought about $800 worth of plywood and decided they were going to make all of the office furniture they could with that plywood. Again, never had made those types of things, but could use the CNC router, had a great team building experience, and made everything from desks to tables to these small little stools. So lots of fun things going on in that space. We do have a full metalworking shop. So again, really what we were looking at is how do we provide equipment, especially to students and the community, that's hard to find or that you might not have in your garage and that you definitely should not have in your dorm room. Those types of things, and give them access to it at a really reasonable rate. So metal shop, we do have welding booths. We also have virtual welding trainers. So if you've never welded before, you can learn how to weld with no spark, which is very exciting and very safe, and then can move on to this next step. Also, full woodworking shop. We have a lot of woodworkers that come in and use this space, again, because it's much easier for us to maintain and own the equipment, and you just come in and use it. Rapid prototyping, so another space that we have that's very popular, 3D printers. We have 3D printers that print in multiple filaments, different types of 3D printers. We also have laser cutters. Those are really popular with especially with our students. They love those. And an electronics bench in this space. Again, pottery, we have an art studio, we have a textiles space. This is one of my favorite photos. So we do have a Longarm quilter. So if you are a quilter or know a quilter, this is a very coveted piece of equipment to have, and it is very popular. And what's really exciting is that we've seen people come in and say, okay, we understand that this is a Longarm quilter and it has a very traditional use, but could we try this with it? Could we use it for putting beading on wallpaper? Could we try it for this piece? And so that's been really exciting too, to see these very traditional pieces of equipment used in very creative ways. Over here you'll see all of these pens that are laid out. We have an amazing partnership with the local VA, and we run 2 programs for veterans out of this facility. One of those is Veterans in Recovery, and so we work with veterans who have post-traumatic stress disorder and or probably some type of substance abuse history. They're able to come into the studio free of charge. They become a member and they learn how to turn pens on the MIDI lathes. And what research is suggesting is that if you work on something for 30 to 45 minutes and walk away with a tangible product, that it really helps increase your self-worth and your self-value. And we are seeing that in the this space. We're also seeing veterans connecting with veterans, veterans connecting with students, veterans connecting with community members, veterans learning new pieces of equipment and really becoming experts on that and sharing that with other people. So it's really been a remarkable program to be part of, and we're very honored to host that in the space. Another pen made. That student decided that it would be more fun to build a 3D printer than to use one that we had available, so he created his own, which is also fantastic. The Biotech Connector, that's something else you might hear about here in Lincoln or see in the news. We do host the only wet lab incubator in the state of Nebraska. So this was a great partnership. You'll see our partners here at the bottom with DED, Invest Nebraska, Bio Nebraska, and the university. We were able to build out wet lab space that the private sector is able to have access to. Wet lab space meaning it has a sink. You can do wet things in it. So this is both short-term and long-term space. You can rent everything from a private lab to literally 6 feet of bench space to do your work if that's what you need. So really flexible space, and has been a great way for us to connect with some new partners across the state.
Is there a way to get instrumentation?
Yes,
like
yep.
Yeah.
You can bring your own instrumentation. We also have some shared equipment, especially in our common lab.
Like flow sorters and sequencers are kind of expensive.
Yes, yeah. So most people bring their own of those types of things. However, if there is some type of partnership, we may be able to purchase it on behalf of the space, depending on the need of the other folks. So, yeah. So in our private labs, those are fully equipped by the people using them. In our common lab, we have some common equipment, and then a shared equipment room for like the glass washer, ice machine, and that type of stuff. The Combine, again, hopefully you hear lots about this, but this is our Ag and Food Tech Incubator on the campus, and they are a statewide initiative, so obviously they have physical space here in Lincoln, but are doing programming all across the state for Ag and Food Tech startups. So a lot of students, especially if they come out of the Engel agribusiness program, this might be a nice next step for them, but we're also seeing some international companies that are interested in being part of the ag tech scene here in Nebraska, and this is a great place for them to get plugged in, not only to Nebraska, but the university and faculty and that sort of thing.
We also, I want to interject, we have a business here, Pharmafield.
Yeah, Pharmafield.
Works out of here and at the Combine.
Yes, they are the gentlemen in that green office right there. So fantastic. Look, good partnership right there. The Sweet Spot, this is one of our newer initiatives connected to the Food Processing Center. So food companies that are needing access to Food Processing Center faculty, staff, and students, and also facilities. This is a great place for them to be located because they're literally just steps away from the resources that they need. And then the Landing co-working space, this is truly for university entities only, but the university faculty or students that are pre-funded that need a business address, we're able to offer them literally an address so that they can go on to apply for SBIR, STTR, whatever funding they're looking for. And then when they get that funding, we encourage them to find a place on campus that is a better fit for them and has a lease cost with it. So. And then Innovation Advancement Suites, this is kind of our most flexible office space. So individual offices, multi-person offices, some hot desks, shared conference rooms. Again, another great place for small companies to get a foothold. We've seen a lot of success out of this space where companies maybe come in at 1 to 3 people and get connected to the university, get connected to the resources that they need, and it really allows them to grow on the campus or throughout the state. And our hotel, the hotel, we're so excited. The Scarlet will open this spring, 154 rooms. It is a boutique hotel, so it has the Marriott back end. You can get your Marriott points, but you won't see the name Marriott really throughout the facility. And one thing that we're really excited about here is that this will be a teaching and research hotel, so the hospitality, tourism, and restaurant management program of the university will function out of this hotel. So we're able to integrate students into the hotel and integrate staff into the program. So really remarkable. We're very excited about that. And then also the added amenities. So full service restaurant, which will obviously be available to the campus, but also the community. A rooftop bar and grill, which has a lovely view. And then they put in an expanded fitness facility that will be able to offer memberships to the folks located at campus, because we don't currently have a gym facility. So these are the partners. I'll go through this quick. Like I said, we have over 55 companies. Some of these will look very familiar to you. Some of these you obviously never will have heard of before. And again, that's very intentional. Fun to have KRVN, have the radio station on campus, and really just a diverse mix of sizes and work that's being done, and that's what's most important to us. So. And I will end, I know, in Brooke's email, and I wanted to write this down because this really is my favorite quote, but wanted to end with this quote of, by having the courage to be yourself, you put something wonderful in the world that was not there before. So. Yeah, I discovered that during my first grad program, and it has stuck with me all the way through. So that is a quick overview of Nebraska Innovation Campus, and I'm happy to answer questions or whatever you have, Brooke.
Well, my next question was going to be, what's your favorite tool or your favorite quote or favorite piece of advice? You've already answered that. What do you do when you're engaging with all of this creativity? What do you do to stay motivated, or what gets you perked up?
Yeah, great question. I think what excites me every day is the possibility of connecting with one of our partners or connecting with someone new, and being able to help them grow and flourish. I think that's always been really important to me. I grew up in a small town in southwest Iowa, so I'm not originally from Lincoln, but came here to go to college at Nebraska Wesleyan. So I am a university grad in a sense with my master's degree, but came here to go to Nebraska Wesleyan. And my parents were small business owners and very entrepreneurial minded and very service focused. We knew that in order to be successful, our community had to be successful, and I think that's something I've always carried with me, that I know it's really important for our partners at Innovation Campus to be successful, so that not only are we successful, but Lincoln is successful and the state is successful. So anytime I can connect and be a resource or provide something that helps them, that's really what excites me.
That's amazing. My last question before we open it up is, I always like to know, what are your favorite local businesses?
Oh gosh, there are so many. There are so many. Again, coming from a small town where everything is a local business, supporting local business has always been important to me. And my folks ran an auction and real estate company, so as one of our businesses. So that idea of finding something unique is really important to me, and so I love to wander the Haymarket or any local boutique and find something really unique that you're not going to find anywhere else. And so that drives my holiday shopping, that drives my shopping for myself, that drives all the things that we have in our house. So I don't know that I could limit my list, but it really is that idea of finding a unique niche place and then finding something really special in it. And I think that's what small and local businesses provide.
That's fantastic. Okay, does anybody else have questions, comments for Kate?
Yes, Diane.
How long have you been at Nebraska Innovation Campus?
So I started this project with Dan Duncan in 2011. So the university took possession of the former state fairgrounds in 2009. We were brought on in kind of the end of 2011, moved our first companies out in 2014, and we'll celebrate 10 years of since groundbreaking in November.
Wow, that was
Yeah.
fast.
Gonna have a big party in November?
Look for fun things to come. Yes, yes.
Donuts and.
So yeah, so I have really had the honor and the privilege of being part of this since the PowerPoint was kind of handed over to say we think this is what Innovation Campus could be.
Right. Anyone else?
Well, I will say, if you've not been over there, you should definitely go. There is the mill, so you can
Yes.
buy coffee. I do tea. It's still a cool place to hang out. And that maker space, that is on my list. I am going to be a member of that because I want to try it all.
What are you gonna make?
Oh, everything. I've always wanted to do pottery. So I was like, oh, because you can't just go and do pottery, but now you can. So yeah, and then, I don't know, everything. I'm just going to try everything. Because
I
why
am-
would you not?
Yeah, I am so excited by this hotel. What a amazing experience for the
And when
students.
does that open? I've
Yeah.
seen it's hiring.
Spring, yes,
okay.
yes, currently hiring. If you especially know any food and beverage personnel, as I'm sure everyone is asking for, certainly looking for those folks to join the staff there. But yeah, they're really ramping up. As I'm sure everyone has experienced, supply chain has been an interesting challenge. Especially on this scale. So yeah, things are going really well. It's going to be really beautiful. As Diane mentioned, we do have the mill on campus, which is open to everyone, and is really a great spot for students. It just has a neat vibe when you walk in. There's always lots of people working on really creative and interesting things and meeting for fun reasons. So if I'm ever kind of feeling slow in the afternoon, sometimes I just go down there and sit, and you just kind of get energized by all the things that's happening there. So
It is. It's really interesting because all of the mills have a very kind of
Yes.
different
They
feel
do.
to them.
They do.
And it's really, I
Yep.
didn't really think about that. So you said, I was like, oh yeah, because when you go to the Telegraph one, it's like, oh, okay. And then the one, I don't know, very
Yep.
interesting,
Yep.
isn't it?
And one of my favorite things about the mill, if you walk in and look straight ahead, there are two really lovely hanging pendant lights that just by chance came from the depot in my hometown.
Oh.
Yes, completely unplanned, completely
They didn't even know you were coming.
No. I was talking to Dan and Tamara the day they were installing them, and Dan said, yeah, we found these in this small town in southwest Iowa. And I said, oh, funny, I'm from a small town in southwest Iowa. And he said, well, you probably haven't heard of it, but it was this town, Red Oak. And I was like, oh, that's actually where I'm from. So it's kind of a nice nod.
It's not just a small town, it's a small world.
Yes,
It is a
yeah,
small world.
yes, very much.
And you also, isn't the Nebraska Innovation Campus that food, you've probably covered, and I don't know what it's called. It's the food place where people go and can test their recipes.
Yeah, so in the Food Processing Center, there are several different, there's the Recipe to Reality program and a food entrepreneurship program. So they can really assist people with everything from labeling to how to make sure that your recipe tastes the same, whether you make one bottle or 10,000. Because we all know, like, you double your recipe, it's okay, and then you quadruple it, and you're like, well, that's weird. So lots of help there in that way as well. And Dairy Store ice cream is made at Innovation Campus.
Ice cream and donuts. See?
Ice cream and
It's good.
next time I'll also
coffee
bring
or
ice
tea.
cream. So yeah, lots going on on the campus.
So if somebody wanted to become a member of the makerspace
Mm-hmm.
or use one of the wet labs, what would they do?
Yeah, reach out. There's multiple ways to contact us for the makerspace. If you visit Innovation Studio, I almost gave you our website, innovationstudio.unl.edu. There's a take a tour button or a become a member button. You can select either of those, and those will connect you to our team in the studio, and they'll either set you up for an orientation if you're like, I'm doing this, I'm ready. They'll they'll get you plugged in for orientation, which will include a tour. If you're a little bit more curious about what all is there and you'd like to poke around a little bit before you make that decision, you can select the Take a Tour button and they'll schedule you a tour so you can come in, walk the facility, learn about the equipment and all of the programming that they offer. Also, we have a Meet a Maker. And so if you need something created but you're not really interested in making it or have the time, we can pair you up with somebody that might be interested in taking on that job for you, and then you'll work out all the details with them. So lots of opportunities there. Same with the wet lab. There's also a Take a Tour button or a Learn More button. Those will come either to me or to Matt Foley, and we'll be glad to give you a tour of the space and talk you through the process for that.
Awesome. Great. Is there any other questions or comments?
Yeah, right.
So on top of being able to take a tour or, have somebody make something for you,
Sure.
are you able to take classes and things like that? And
Yes.
More about.
Yeah, so if you, our goal is that if you walk into the space and really your only making experience is that you know the difference between a screwdriver and a hammer, that we can get you up and running, right? So if you have never thrown a bowl on, but you want to make pottery, then we'll either connect you with another maker who will answer those questions or help you through that, or there might be a class or a workshop for it. So there's just a variety of things that are offered in the space. And if you are an expert in some area, we also always encourage our members to offer a class. So we have a gal from Omaha who is very knowledgeable about the Longarm quilter. She does the trainings for that. She offers classes for that. She will answer all of the bizarre questions that we have about that piece of equipment. And so that really is her expertise. And more, especially with woodworking, that type of thing, a lot of our members are even stepping up and saying like, hey, I'd like to offer a class on this. And we certainly welcome that as well.
It's a beautiful space.
It is.
Oh, you're
It's
totally
fun.
fine.
Yes.
Do you have, because I know you have a textile degree at the university, do you have a space for the textile fashion for those creative? Because we're always needing something new as women. So.
Yes. So we have partnered with the textiles department in the past. They have taught a class at the makerspace, and then we do have a gallery also. So part of what's important is that people that make things, we want to be able to allow them to show it off. So there is a gallery space there. Shane Ferreter teaches a Making for Innovation class in the studio. He's a mechanical engineer and also one of the co-founders of Virtual Incision, one of our partners on campus. But a few years ago, he had a textiles student and an engineering student who paired up. And she, I believe, had a grandmother that had Parkinson's and really struggled with pulling up her sleeves to wash her hands. And so out of that, they created a garment that had a system in it that with a push of a button, it would be loose fitting or it could be very tight fitting. It could change very quickly. And the whole idea behind that was to think about, could they create something that with a push of a button would pull up those sleeves so that her grandmother didn't have wet sleeves after she washed her hands. So those types of things are happening in the space. We have some pretty elaborate textile equipment, so that's been fun. And we do have a industrial sewing machine that will sew through about 1 inch of leather. So we're also seeing a lot of people that do upholstery work, especially in vehicles. So car upholstery, that they're able to come in and use that piece of equipment. So that textiles room, we also have some weaving looms. That textiles room is a happening place, which is awesome. And the Longarm quilter, I mean, it's used all day, every day. Yeah,
If
it's
you've
fantastic.
never watched one of those in action, it is amazing.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So kind of like two halves of a question. So, so you have a whole bunch of different, I guess these would be like startups or whatever. So one half is like, what sorts of, I guess, formal cross-fertilization sorts of events do you have that, let's say like one person presents to like a group of the other folks, so that, people understand what's going on. And then second half of that is like, well, how much of this actually also available to the public to come in and actually watch?
Yeah, so all of it sort of depends. I know that's a hard answer. We do have an events calendar that lists all of our things out that are happening on the campus. So because of the conference center, that throws in another component out there. So sometimes things that are happening at the conference center are for conference attendees only. Sometimes they are open to the public. Sometimes it's a university put on event that is open to, like the Hewerman lectures or something like that, that's both open to the public and live streamed. So that's kind of one component. The makerspace obviously offers classes and programs. I know I just saw this yesterday, we're partnering with N Motion on an upcoming event in March called something in Scrappy. Oh, I can't think of the first word, but anyway, it's going to be an open invitation to people who want to come in and try to build something in 2 hours. So something like that would be open to anyone and would be able to come in. As far as our partners, like sharing information about what they do and who they are, this was a great question. We're actually looking at kicking off an NIC Partner Connect Lunch and Learn series this year. Probably our focus at the beginning will be the idea of its partners sharing to partners of exactly what you said. This is our company, this is what we do, this is why we're involved here. And as that grows, maybe something that we open to the public. All of our partners are listed on our partner webpage, so if you're curious as to who is out there, there's a short description, a link to their company, or a link to their webpage, and then if they have any careers available, we obviously post that as well. So really our focus on events and programming from my office side is that mix and mingle of our folks that are located there. But we do have the Combine offers a lot of programming that's open to everyone. So there are pockets out there of programming and events that we certainly welcome the community to. So I would encourage you to check out our events calendar, and if you have a question, shoot me a note. But usually we keep it pretty clear as to who our intended audience
So your
is.
events calendar would have Combine stuff also?
It does, yes. We pull all different departments and entities into that. So, and sometimes some of our partners throw events that's open to the public. So you might see a spray tail event or something hosted by one of the campus partners out there as well. So yes, it's right on the front page of the homepage of our website. Thank you.
Any last questions? Well, Kate, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
This was amazing. You guys are doing just such fascinating, exciting work, and
Awesome.
I'm so glad you were here to share it with us. And I want to thank Community Development Resources for providing our Canyon coffee every week. And hope all of you will come back next week. We have Rhonda Armstrong with Center Sphere Networking Group. And stay, mingle, have another cup of coffee, have another donut.
Have another donut, please. Yes, thank you.
And we'll see you all next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.